Hey everyone, I'm Steph,
I'm Megan.
and welcome to another episode of Late Night Reads.
This week, we are diving into the magical world of romantasy and covering the novella A Crown of Ruin by Jennifer Armentrout.
Oh! So
Love it.
let's start with why we selected A Crown of Ruin. We are obsessed with this series and may have screamed and sent each other lots of emojis when this novella dropped out of nowhere at the end of
Oh,
December.
the goddess Jennifer Armentrout blessed us with this beautiful gift. It's like our own little Christmas gift from her,
It
honestly.
was.
It was so
It was
lovely.
I think a Friday night when it dropped, and I was like, well, I have
Oh,
zero plans this weekend now.
yep. This is what I'm doing. See you later, the world. Bye.
Exactly. And we had so many questions and theories after the end of the Primal of Blood and Bone. So we were excited to get another glimpse into this world as we wait for the final book, which still does not have a release date yet.
Oh,
And Casteel, he is in his chaos era, is what she's calling it. I'm calling it his asshole era. And like, we're here for it. We
so
have,
here for it.
we're so here for it. And I know this is not a belief that everyone else has, but we strongly believe this entire series has been building towards this character development for him. And we love every single fucking moment of it.
Oh, God, yes.
Also, Kieran finally gets his head out of his ass and admits he could have handled the situation with Casteel and Poppy better. I was like, fucking finally. Just a little bit. Plus, it is about time he started shadow stepping. And then, as usual, this novella answered a few questions, maybe a few, created more theories. So prepare to get super, super unhinged with us later.
Yes. Like the door is coming off the hinge and it's flying through
Yes.
into another realm as if like a fate popped in.
Specific fate, too.
Specific one. But here are a few things that you should know about the author, Jennifer Armentrout, as if you don't already know, but we'll review it anyway. She is a New York Times bestselling author and writes young adult, paranormal, science fiction, fantasy, and contemporary romance. We would definitely consider both the Blood and Ash series and the Flesh and Fire series to be adult romantasy based on its content. She has also got a full house with a husband, dog, multiple alpacas, goats, and sheep. And she was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa, which is a group of rare genetic disorders that involve a breakdown of and death of cells in the retina, which will eventually result in loss of vision. So she's very passionate about educating people on the varying degrees of blindness.
So, before we jump into discussing this novella, a couple of key reminders. As always, this episode will contain spoilers. We assume if you are listening that you have read this novella, that you have read the previous books in the Blood and Ash series and the Flesh and Fire series. You have been warned. Also, this book contains some topics that may be sensitive for some readers, and we're going to talk about all of them: anxiety, assault, blood, death, emotional abuse, murder, PTSD, sexual harassment. Thank you, Kolis. Ugh. Torture and violence. I almost put stalking in there because I feel like everything Kolis does is stalking, but I don't know if he really stalked anyone in this novella.
Yeah,
But
so much, but there's an overall stockage.
that's just, I think, his
Is that a
nature.
word? A stockage.
Well, when it comes to Kolis, I think it
Because the
is.
coal is. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, jumping into every magical twist, we are back in Penzerth in Poppy's POV, and we get to see a whole lot more of what happens between her and Kolis during this very, very critical scene, which I was super appreciative of because there was so many questions I had regarding exactly what happened after the
Yes.
end of the Primal Blood and Bone. Okay, so Ates is a blurry shape on the floor in a pile of blood. Did not love that for him. Like, made me very sad. Poppy vaguely remembers seeing a presence, wisp of primal mist swirling around a tall form that quickly disappears. Who is that? Where did they go? Why? We're going to talk about in theories. Kolis is drinking Poppy's blood, and his body is starting to warm, which means she's close to dying. And then she fights back by drinking his blood, which like surprises him, and I think he enjoys.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I think you may be turning him on by doing
I
that.
know,
Like,
which I was like,
then I
yes,
immediately am just like, you drank his blood. That means he can do all this shit to you all over again.
I know. Like I was just like, oh.
Ugh, yuck.
But it does give her enough power to hit him with some ether, sending him flying into a pillar. Poppy sees Ates. She wants to heal him, but she's like, I can't because I'm so weak. And it was like kind of heartbreaking because she was like, I'm sorry to this pile of like flesh and blood. There's like a hole in his chest. She does grab his dagger. And so supposedly now Poppy has made Kolis angry. And I'm like, you weren't angry before when you were trying to kill her?
Yeah, right? You were happy?
You were happy? Someone needs to understand emotions. And he comments how she did learn how to become a fighter, and he used to hate that about her. And that has to be something alluding to Satoria. And I'm very curious about what it means. I have some theories. I think there is a lot more about Satoria's story that we have not been told yet, that it's going to play a big role. And then Poppy calls Kolis a pervert. He is a pervert on a variety of reasons, because she points out they're related. And then he makes a very interesting comment about how they weren't before, and then says, actually, I suppose we were in a way, but distantly. What do you mean, Kolis? What do you mean?
As Satoria?
Yeah.
Like, what? Where does this fall?
Where
is
does
that
this fall?
why he is like, is that why Callum is like his little BFF?
I don't know, but I have questions, and I'm also even more disgusted.
Oh, yeah,
by
absolutely
Kolis.
disgusting. Yes. The
Kolis
creepy uncle.
Right? Literally. The creepy uncle. Ugh. Kolis continues to hit and throw Poppy across the room, demanding that she apologize.
Okay, let me get right on that.
Let me get right on that, right? I guess technically she does. She just fuck you a lot, so.
Yeah.
And then he ends up breaking her back, making it impossible for her to move. And I got really nervous at this point, because I was like, because there was a comment in the Primal Blood and Bone about how he wanted to fuck her while Etis watched.
Yeah, I was like,
and
oh,
I was
no.
like, if something like that happens, I'm gonna lose it. So thank God it didn't.
Yeah, thank God. But Kolis claims that all he wanted was Satoria to love him back, but no one could do that except his brother. It's like, okay, well then why did you kill him, Kolis? Why did you kill the one person who could maybe love you back? Like, And also, like, if you really wanted Satoria to love you, like, don't treat her like shit.
Right? Like,
crazy idea. Crazy idea. And then Kolis starts drinking from Poppy again, and she's really struggling with panic and fear, obviously, because that's terrifying. And then Poppy notices the doors to the Great Hall are open, and Ates is gone. She's like, where did he go? He was just, like, a pile on the floor. Like, what happened?
Like, he can't walk.
He can't move. Like, what? But then Poppy feels a tremor as her flesh begins to blister and burn, and she's screaming and just, like, wanting to die, which you're like, no, Poppy, please don't give up. But then out of nowhere, Silver Ether slams into Kolis, and Theon tells Kolis to get away from Poppy. And Kolis claims Theon was foolish to come alone. And it's like, well, did he?
Did he?
Kolis claims that it took literally nothing to take Ates out because he's weakened from not being a primal of a court, and that Poppy weakens him. And then Theon mentions how it's awfully quiet in the hallway, and Ates is no longer here. Making it clear, of course, that he didn't come alone. He's like, Kolis, get your head out of your ass. Look around. Pay attention. And Theon then also mentions how seems like someone's been cast from Elysium. And Poppy doesn't know what it means, but Kolis just responds, fuck the fates. Which we can agree on that one. Yes, fuck the fates. Agreed. That's the one thing I'll agree with you with, Kolis. Fuck the fates. And then another person shows up, and Theon tells him to get Poppy out of here. And he has two deep, straight cuts that start in the center of his forehead and then, like, end at the corner of his lips. And, like, Poppy can't feel what he is. And Theon just claims that they're best friends. And the other person makes a comment about, just wait until you sleep. And I'm like,
I might have screamed because I knew exactly who it was at that point. I was like, it's fucking Kieran.
So then Theon appears to have fallen, thanks to fucking Kolis, which literally you're like, oh, fuck. And then that causes like a shockwave of energy, and Poppy falls from the god who was carrying her. And you're like, oh, no, that's not good. And then Reaver shows up because like she sees this like big shadow, and she's like, could that be? I don't know. Yes, it is. It's Reaver, our little Reaver butt. Shows up. He's impacted by the shockwave too. And he starts, getting in there and start fighting. And Poppy kind of blacks out for a minute and then awakens to like pain and yelling because, yeah. And a primal goddess is there and is screaming for Theon. So we're inclined to believe that that's his sister, Layla. Layla. Okay. So we think that's her. And then Reaver is obviously there like taking out revenants with his tail and his fire, just like beating shit out of people. And we're like, yeah. And we're glad to see that he got to burn some fucking revenants. Thank God. He should really be allowed to do that more often, honestly. Like,
He
can we
should just do it. Because I think his problem
do
is
it.
he asks. Like, he's like, well, can
Yeah.
I burn them? And Poppy's always like, no. And I'm like,
No.
what if you just did it?
Just did it. Ask for forgiveness, not permission. Okay, Reaver?
Right.
It's okay. But then a silver wolf comes in and like tears into Kolis, which you're like, yes, it's got to be Nyktos. It's got to be Nyktos, right? He's just like going at it. He's like, I got some of my own shit to deal with you, Kolis. But Poppy blacks out again and then awakens to Reaver yelling her name. And then she just hears her, which we're like, oh, that's Sarah. That's totally Sarah. And she is telling Ash, Nyktos, to give Poppy to her. So again, we're like, oh, Sarah was there. I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah.
And then Poppy all of a sudden smells, fresh lilacs, which again, we're like, Sarah, that's her life. And there's a strange taste in her mouth, like being given Sarah's blood. And then Sarah tells her it's okay to let go now. And Poppy does. So we're inclined to believe now that that means Poppy is saved and she is starting to just slip into stasis, which you're like, okay, good. But also, what the fuck just happened? There's so much going on here.
There was a lot going on there. We have a lot of theories about that specific scene. So next chapter is in Casteel's POV. It's entitled He Who is Born of the Blood of Gods. And we're big believers that every chapter title has a big meaning, and this one is tied to his heritage. So it picks up after Casteel has sealed himself in the Great Hall with the bodies of Delano, Hissa, his father. Not a great situation. Kieran's like pounding on the doors with others. Casteel's like, fuck off. I'm not going to let you in. Then he decides to use his ether to open a tear in the realm and go to Pinstirth because what Poppy had done with Thorn to prevent him from going has no longer worked. I do have a question as to why it no longer works.
Yeah, is it because like the time has passed where she's no longer there?
Right. Is it a time thing? Is it because she's not present in the realm? Kolis isn't present in the realm?
Yeah, like what were the restrictions?
In that place? Yes.
Or is he just strong enough now that he can override it?
That's my other question, right? So more to come on that. Casteel can sense a bunch of gods, most of them weak, and a primal god, as well as ascendants and revenants. He senses ruin within him. And this part, we'll talk about in theories, but it makes me a little sad and anxious. Dead trees collapse when he walks by. Other trees wither away. The eastern wall of the Seacliff Manor is destroyed. I think the comments around what happens in his presence are really important.
Yeah.
Then my favorite part is he starts ripping off the roofs to expose the ascended to sunlight to kill them, which is like the most Casteel thing ever. I feel like just like watching them burn.
It reminds me of just like a little boy with a magnifying glass, just like burning ants, just like bzz, get them all done. Which I'm like, yeah, they're bad ascended people. They should be burned. Yes.
I agree. Oh, by the way, Casteel's wings.
Oh, yes. Which we're kind of like,
I know, right? Like, hello. They're sensitive. He can also will them away.
Which is cool. But it's very interesting that she details how he feels them being tucked into his spine, but still feels their presence. Yes. And then when they come out, the muscles move, and you're like, ooh.
I kind of like it, right?
It gives me some rice and daddy.
It does, very much so. Yeah. He also kills Eldrick Ashwood, which is someone that we have heard about in the previous book. And then a god wearing crimson shows up and questions, what are you? Which is a really common question in this novella to Casteel. But Casteel doesn't answer and demands to know where his queen is. And the god gives him the wrong answer by saying, likely dead. And Casteel kills this god.
Yeah, it's wrong answer, dude. Do you think that was going to help you?
I mean, no. But Casteel, this is the problem. Casteel does this a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
We're going to talk more about it.
Mm-hmm. And then Casteel hears a female voice being held back and saying she'll kill them all. And you're like, oh my God. Could that be Theon's sister, Layla? Because oh. And then another god that she's with comments that I don't think that's going to be necessary. Likely indicating that Casteel is there now and will handle everyone who has served Kolis and he will take care of this mess. Casteel, of course, continues to just go on a killing rampage, kills all the gods that get in his way. He's like, you're a bad guy, dead. You're a bad guy, dead. Just like murderous, basically.
Yes.
And then Casteel also sees a female god who was unremarkable but different. She doesn't react upon seeing him like everyone else seems to do, and her eyes are black, threaded with crimson, and she smells like stale lilacs and death. She ends up slipping through a tear in the realm and like gets away, and he's just like, that's new. You're like, that's that's weird. And now I'm like, oh, there's other like death female gods. Interesting.
Just wait till you find out who I think she is, Megan. We're gonna talk about it later. I'm like, it's so fucking unhinged.
I love it. I'm here for it. But until then, Casteel has a confrontation with a few gods, and we believe that this group probably includes Layla, Kieran, and an auburn hair god, Rain. So Casteel does not like that Theron smells a poppy. He's like, what the fuck? Why do you smell like her? What'd you do to her? But he doesn't really get a chance to like ask a whole lot of questions because, you know, he starts beating the shit out of him. But Theron's like, Poppy's blood is on me because, you know, I was helping her, so fuck off. And then Layla yells at Casteel to put Theron down or she'll make him. And I'm like, girl, I'd like to see you try because I don't think anybody's going to make Casteel do anything he doesn't want to do at this point. And then there's an oddly familiar voice boomed out of nowhere and everywhere at the same time saying, what he is what we feared, the bringer of ruin. So we're assuming that's probably one of the fates talking at this point. And what they're saying about him being the bringer of ruin, I'm kind of like, yeah, please ruin me.
Right? In so many ways.
I would love it. Give me the bringer of ruin. I can't wait. The prophecy is fulfilled. And then Casteel is hit by a flash of light and seems to be able to fly using his wings. He's like, whoosh. And the other gods are gone by the time he's back on the ground. They just like, they pieced out. They're like, oh, fuck. Like, nope. And Casteel loses it when he looks around and sees all of Poppy's blood on the floor. And he's just like, could things have turned out differently if I had been able to convince her that like I could handle myself? And like, maybe I could have listened to Kieran and like maybe I could have talked to Poppy about all this, because he's just like devastated that he knows like Poppy should not have come alone. He should have just found a way to be at her side. And then just like anger and grief completely take over for him. And he makes a comment about how he tries to stop himself from snapping and tearing the realm apart. Talk about a guy who will literally burn the world down for you. He's like beyond burning the world. He's like, I will tear the realm apart.
But that is, if you think about it, remember Nyktos in the Flesh and Fire series, when he thought he was going to lose Sarah, the whole reason he had his cardia removed was he had a vision of, or like a dream or something of destroying the realm because of Sarah. And I'm like, this feels like life repeating itself.
Yeah, so now I'm like, should Casteel have his cardia removed? Because this is a bit cray-cray.
Right.
But I also understand. And he's like, I think he feels like his heart has broken because he ends up screaming. And just that moment the sound hits the air, it destroys everything. It's like a sonic boom, basically. And basically all of Penstirth now turns to dust. Like it's gone. And it's saying that like all that rage, grief, guilt, it all consumed me until there was nothing left but the ruin I unleashed and the wrath that followed.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, so good.
Okay. Then we get a chapter that was 1,000% unexpected. It's in Poppy's POV. It's entitled Brothers. It's a real doozy. So we believe this is happening while Poppy's in stasis and she's healing after the injuries inflicted by Kolis. She's watching a village that she at first thinks she doesn't remember before. And then she sees a dark young-haired man appear staring at the village. Poppy's like, he looks really familiar. Then another young man joins him. And then that's when all of her memories of what happened in Penstirth come back to her, because the second young man is fucking Kolis and the first one is Ethos. It is also really important to note that Poppy feels hollow because Kolis has taken it all from her. And when she tries to summon the essence. So that can be like absolutely nothing because she's in stasis, but it makes us wonder if there are going to be ramifications down the road regarding her powers. Like why does Jennifer Armentrout use those words? Okay. And then Ethos reminds Kolis not to let the villagers see him. which I was like, okay, well, I mean, you're the god of death. And then Ethos
Yeah.
goes to the village, and like the villagers are shouting Lazar, right? Which is the word for king in the language of the gods, which is interesting because I think that was actually on one of the pronunciation guides, maybe for the primal blood and bone, but it wasn't actually used in the book. And so there's a lot of question about like, where is that going to come in? Here's where we're seeing it. And then fucking Kolis says, what a pretty poppy, when he looks at these red, oranges, poppy flowers, and they immediately turn to gray when he touches them. And then I got very, very, very nervous because that is what we saw with Casteel in the previous chapter.
I felt really bad for him though in that moment because he's like trying to enjoy the beauty of something, and it just dies. It reminded me so much of like Hades holding like the octopus, and he's just like, "Oh, it's my friend, I love it," and he accidentally kills it. And you're just like, Kolis really was trying just to stop and smell the flowers, you know? He really was. And the flower was like, and died. And you're like,
it's like, oh,
I know. I felt bad. I felt a little bit of sympathy for him.
A little bit.
In that tiny moment.
Well, Poppy's about to feel some too.
Mm-hmm.
Young boy and girl come to look at the little girl's favorite flowers. They have green eyes. It's Satoria and Column, we're pretty sure of, right? They freak out when they see Kolis, even though he's like, I'm not here for you. And I'm like, who would trust the god of death?
Yeah, no truck. Don't trust him.
And then Poppy feels empathy for him. And she realizes she knows where she's at because she's been there before. She's at the Cliffs of Sorrow. And then she wants to get out of there and starts feeling really cold. Mm-hmm. Here's what gets real. So that's all crazy and weird. But what gets really crazy is then Ethos is back, but he's older. And he makes a comment about how the one thing Death wanted was not to be feared. He also mentions how Death yearns for a connection that isn't marred by fear or rejection. And that perhaps most importantly, because of the fates, all he will ever be is a witness, a ghost among the living and the gods, forever wandering, forever alone. And I have some theories about this that I do not love. No. Ethos also mentions that perhaps if he acknowledged how hard things were for Kolis, that all that has come to pass and what is still yet to come could have been prevented. And I'm like, that, I don't love that. Then he looks directly at Poppy and says, it's not too late. Never forget that. And I'm just like,
I just got chills again.
Right?
Oh like, my gosh.
You're dead. Right?
Yeah. Right? Or did we just time travel?
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. But then the next chapter is also in Poppy's point of view, and it's entitled The Caverns. So we immediately assume maybe we're dream walking or stasis walking, and maybe we'll get some dream sex. But alas, no dream sex. We got
not for a
teased.
lack of wanting, though.
Yes, that's true. They were the scent
they
was
were
there.
Wanting.
The arousal was there, and we were wanting. We're like, yes, but no, we got a cold cavern water poured on us.
Can you imagine what Sex with Casteel in this?
Oh,
like,
oh my.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I just was like, we've not seen it yet. I can't.
Those goosebumps turned into something else. Goodbye. Okay. So Poppy is now in the cavern, and she's dreamed walk in there with Casteel, and she knows that he called her there, and she calls out to him, and she catches like a whiff of his scent. There's pine, decadent spice, but something new. She's like, what is that? I don't know what that one is, but she can feel his presence, but all she sees is shadows at first, until she's able to see him then with the primal mist coiled around him, and he doesn't look completely like himself. And she can't see his face or his eyes. The shadows then turn the air cold, causing ice to form in the hot springs. And she notices that he now smells like frosted ash, which I'm like, that's a very specific and interesting combination of smells.
And words.
Frozen ash.
Mm-hmm.
And then she calls out his name, saying, I will love you always. Like, I love you always. I literally start thinking of like the Whitney Houston song. You know, I'm like, like, that's her singing to him. Like, I'm always gonna love you no matter what. And she's then able to see part of his face. And then he appears to be like waking up. So she's like, no. And then they're both gone. You're like,
damn it.
So close.
So close.
Damn it.
So, next chapter is in Casteel's POV entitled And From the Ash of the First Flame. And we're going to talk about a crazy ass theory I have on this one because
yes,
these chapter headings mean something. Okay.
Oh, they're so good too.
They're so good. It has been weeks since Penstearth now. Casteel has continued to search for Poppy. He can't get to her. He has these deep feelings to be unleashed, upend the order of things, undo, unravel, unmake. Not
he
great
can
words
undo,
for the
unravel,
realm.
and unmake me, though. That'd be fine.
Just not the realm.
Just not the realm. Don't do the realm.
He also mentions how it was there before Penstearth, before Poppy's ascension, and before Poppy. Maybe it has been there the entire time and only now is woken up, which is one of our biggest theories from very early on. We've said that we've always believed he's a god, that there is this deep power within him well before any of this stuff happened. So that feels like check.
Yeah.
We also get his viewpoint of seeing Poppy in the cavern, stasis, dreamwalking. And what's fascinating about it is he comments how he wants to protect her, ruin her, love her, hate her for doubting him, not trusting him, and he wants to hate her because he hates himself. And I was just like, oh. Like, he's so heartbroken. Like, I think that's the part that I think some readers have missed, is they see kind of how he turns at the end or just his behavior in the Primal Blood and Bone. They're like, well, he's an asshole. And I'm like, does he make the best choices? No, but he's not intentionally being mean. He is like truly heartbroken, devastated in a way that he's never been before. And this, when he was talking about this stuff, I was just like, oh God, I just feel for him.
Yeah, he's a tormented soul.
He's very tormented. He also thinks how he should have listened to Kieran. You know how I feel about that. Controlled his temper and earned Poppy's trust. And I hate that he keeps thinking he needs to earn Poppy's trust because he's always had it. And I think that's why I'm so frustrated at Kieran in the Primal Blood and Bone, is because he caused Casteel to doubt that Poppy trusted him. Ugh. Okay. But then when Poppy says his name, all the endless wants and needs are silenced, and the thrum of power ebbs, which is a very important breadcrumb for the next book, because I think it's very clear that Poppy is going to be able to pull Casteel out of the spiral at some point.
Hope so.
Unfortunately, Casteel is disturbed by something entering Wayfair, which is why he wakes up. And at first, he wakes up to Ate's warning Kieran to be wary of the ravens. I feel like there's more we need to know about this. Yeah. Some of the ravens are a Kora, an animal formed by the primal god. We know, like, Ate's has one that is a hawk, another bird. Primal gods can form a animal, not dozens or hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only other person that we've seen be able to form a lot of them is in the Fall of Ruin and Wrath, and his name is Thorn, which,
we like Thorn.
We do like Thorn. Casteel also struggles with being Ate's because of how closely he resembles Valen, which is really heartbreaking. Oh, and Jasper's there. And he claims that Casteel is being very temperamental. And I'm like, he's like always been temperamental, like as a kid growing up. And I'm like, dude, this is fucking different.
This is different.
This is different. And he's like, Casteel would never hurt me. And I'm like, okay.
Sure about that?
Sure about that?
Yeah. He's like, I just want to talk. And you're like,
Casteel no talkie.
He no talkie. He more fighty. He no talkie.
He's more killy right now.
More killy. More murdery. Yeah. It's not going to go well for you. However, these three are not what awakened Casteel. It is the presence of Malik and Millie in the castle. And we know what Millie has with her. And Casteel can see a little present. There's Santa. And Casteel uses the ravens to like spy on everybody, right? So he can see everything that's happening through a raven that's like overlooking everything. And then he's like, I'm going to shadow step there. And so Casteel shadow steps over to where Malik and Millie are, and they're just like, fuck. And like, let's just say Millie is very shocked by Casteel's new appearance. She's just like, what am I looking at here? What is happening? Like, tell me. I don't understand. And it's interesting that Casteel's will does not want to hurt Millie. And because he's like, I know that's Poppy's sister. I can't hurt her. And she calls him the Mr. Dark Lord, which I am here for that. That's, yeah, right? Okay, Mr. Dark Lord. Yes. And she demands to know where is Poppy. And he's also like, I would love to know myself. Like,
Like, where
please
the fuck have
enlighten
you
me.
been?
Like, I don't know. Do you know? And there's some hilarious banter now between Malik and Millie, making us die to have a little bit more scenes with them in the next book. And we're just counting down until they get their own book, maybe. That'd be
Mhm.
fun. I feel like they'd be very spicy, you
I
know?
hope so.
They would have like a really good, just like
Hate
hate
sex?
sex. Yeah. It'd
If
be fun.
only.
If only. We can only hope. Let's pray to the fates. And then Kieran, Ates, and Jasper show up. And it looks like Kieran is getting more comfortable now with shadow stepping. We're like, about damn time. Like, get over your fear. Like, let's just do it. Okay, suck it up. Be a big boy god, you know? And can we just say how much we love Millie calling out that wolf's got fancy new tricks? It's like, so the three of you did get it on then. And you're like, oh. She does not have a filter. And I
love
love
her.
that.
She's
She's just like,
her.
I know what's happening and I'm going to call it out. And you're like, yep. Mm-hmm. And then Ates is very shocked by how Millie looks exactly like Sarah. He's just like, oh my God. And then he also mentions how much Sarah is going to love Millie. But Millie goes pale at the thought of meeting her grandmother. So she's got to figure out some shit. But none of them really want Casteel to get a hold of Callum because he tends to kill people very quickly. His interrogations, let's just say, don't end well for the person being interrogated.
Or last long.
Or last long, yeah. They're just like, you cannot do this because we need to get questions out of him. Answers out of him, anyway. And we learn that it took Millie weeks to find Callum. Or Callie, as she likes to call him. She's like, I had to have some fun.
Like, I feel like fucking Colum or Callie, it needs to be, like, his permanent new name. Because Callie's just, like, I don't know. He would be so irritated by it.
He'd be so pissed. He'd be so pissed. He'd be like, don't call me Callie. It's like, okay, Callie.
Okay.
Just like, because, you know, he's a little chicken shit. He was hiding out in a cave full of spiders in the Blood Forest. I'm like, oh, little baby Callie.
Which is also a really specific, like, why were we told where he was hiding?
Yeah.
Like, what's in the Blood Forest, Jennifer Armentrout?
Yeah. And spiders.
Like, what? Mm-hmm. What else is there?
And then, of course, there's a battle of wills going on between Kieran and Casteel over Callum. Because, again, with Callum now has to be hidden away from Casteel because Kieran's like, you know what? You're just going to kill him. So we can't do that. And then, but then Kieran has a little moment of truth here where he's like, he mentions he was wrong about certain things and how he sees Casteel. He's just like, we need to fix some stuff here. Like,
yeah. So, next chapter, back in Casteel's POV, and it's entitled The God of Bone and Ash. Another fucking god has entered Wayfarer's Great Hall because they also have a death wish. And this one apparently does know that the vines are connected to Casteel and is careful not to step on them. The female god tries to stab Casteel with a bone dagger, but it doesn't work. He ends up like stopping her right before she scratches like a button on his clothes. And he's like, you scratched my button. Oh, she also has red hair. Recently died to fuck with, I think, Casteel's mind and also probably in some weird pervert Kolis obsession with the Satoria manor. Ugh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. She says a lot of things that I think are really fascinating. She claims Casteel won't be able to get close to the true primal of death, and he'll see the realms restored to how they should be. Okay. Apparently, the false queen will be stripped of her throne in Dallas, referring to Sarah. Gods ruling the courts will be struck down and punished. We've heard this before, Kolis. And the gods will rule the mortals. We know this. That's what you want.
Old news. We know.
Old news. I'm like, tell me something I don't know. Mm-hmm. Supposedly, this female god is loyal to Kolis because he has promised to never force them to go into stasis, which is real fucking scary if you think about how, like, the gods in the Flesh and Fire series, the ones that didn't go into stasis turned out. Don't love that. Not bar them from entering the mortal realm. Also not great for mortals. And she's going to get a court if she brings him Casteel's head. Okay. And then once again,
incentives.
She's like, incentives, right? What are you to Casteel? He doesn't know people.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not like he can like look on the tag of his like shirt and be like, oh, I'm this. Here you go.
Like, he's the fucking Casteel. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So she refuses to tell Casteel where Kolis is, only that he is death. everywhere and nowhere. And it should frighten Casteel. And I'm like, I'm not frightened by Kolis.
No.
Until she made that statement. When she said everywhere and nowhere, I'm like, hold on a second.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Because remember the voice that came in the chapter when Casteel goes to Penstirth? And it comes out of nowhere, but it's everywhere? And I'm like, hold on a second.
It's like, are you telling me Kolis is omnipresent? Because
what does that mean? Because that's
not.
That might fucking frighten me.
That could be bad. That could be bad.
Mm-hmm. And then we find out this god also is in Penstirth, tells Casteel how Poppy screamed and begged, and how Kolis will find her again and finish what he started. And I was like, do you want to die? Clearly, the answer is yes.
You have a death
So
wish.
he feeds from her, he kills her, and then he makes sure to take a bone to put in his throne. Ooh. As one does.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, a little souvenir. Surprisingly, though, he uses the Notum to reach out to Kieran for the first time since everything has happened, because he's been shutting Kieran out, right? Definitely since everyone died. But then also, even in the Primal Blood and Bone, he really wasn't using the Notum very much to communicate with Kieran unless they were trying to talk about Poppy to each other and arguing via the Notum without her knowing.
Yeah. Which she did not appreciate. She's like, are you guys talking about me? What the fuck?
Like, this is rude.
Rude. So
he shadow steps to the rise. Let's just say that, like, the generals have not seen what Casteel is now. They're slightly terrified, as one would be. We know that there was likely a distraction that this god created beforehand. We find out what it is. It's a bunch of cravens attacking the rise. Because technically, Kolis controls the living dead and the dead.
All the deads.
All the deads. So he sent them. And then Casteel's like, looking at like Ates and Kieran, they're like, you could fucking take all of these guys. Like, why aren't you using some ether? But neither one of them does.
Why haven't you cleaned up this mess? Why haven't you taken care of this?
This would take 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But they don't want to scare the people. Which I'm like, okay, I mean, I get it.
Sure.
So Casteel's like, I got you. And then he jumps off the fucking building.
Oh, God.
Like, and then he, instead of using his ether, because like at first, he starts like ripping them apart with his hands and his mouth. It gets really bloody. He does end up using some ether. But what is really fascinating is we saw revenants run away from him in Penstirth. Now we see Craven run away from him.
You know that's bad. You know you are something fucking terrifying if the Craven are running away from you.
The things that are controlled by Kolis that are like the living dead are scared of you.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's bad.
That's bad. But I love like the image of Casteel just like walking through and being like, huh, huh.
I know,
like,
right?
Like it's like his own anger management therapy, you know? Like it's like you want to go into a room with a sledgehammer and just smash some things, you know? He's just like, I just need to go rip apart some Craven, okay? Like
it's like when people are like, you need to go when you need to go touch grass, that's what he did.
I need to go touch Craven and kill them. Which and that's when they're charging, like, and then they're like, oh no, and they run away.
Right?
Pretty funny, actually.
It is.
So then we finally get a Kieran point of view entitled The Golden Cage. So the council chambers were untouched by Casteel's destruction because he knew Kieran spends a lot of time in there, which is kind of like a little sign to Kieran that the real Casteel is still deep down inside of him. Like he still loves Kieran and still cares for him, even though his words don't exactly say that. Like he's still there. And Sven is there and he's searching through the books, trying to learn if they can prevent what happened with Delano, Hisa, etc. from ever happening again. AKA them all just like killing themselves. And Perry isn't very helpful at this moment because of Delano's death. Feel bad for him. Yeah. And we learned that Kieran did feel Poppy weakening. He just didn't realize that was what caused the pain in his chest. He was just like, what? Oh my God. And interesting enough, he thinks Casteel felt it stronger and first because they're technically heartmates, and that he likely just would have felt it more if there was more time for him to have felt it. And so it kind of, in my mind, goes back to like where like Kieran was like trying to protect Casteel, you know, because he's like, you will feel things 10 times harder.
Yeah.
And so like, that's why I was trying to help you. He's like, I still will be hurt if like Poppy gets hurt, but like you are gonna be 10 times worse. So that basically is just like the truth right there. And then Kieran also questions why he was even I can't say that word. Susceptible. That's the word.
Yeah.
Aha. To Kolis' influence, and like why his, Dominion primal essence hadn't protected him. And it's like, had he been weakened without even realizing it? And like, why did that happen? Because again, it's like he's of two worlds. So maybe like that world of him just like overpowered by Kolis all of a sudden. But he was like, what the fuck? And then finally, Kieran admits to himself he should have told Casteel about that promise when Poppy was in stasis. And it's like, no fucking shit, Kieran. Of course you have. You should have. Like, and he's like, how? He's like, I couldn't have helped Casteel see that, like, it wasn't an oath born of lack of trust, and, like, allowed him to see that it was done to protect him. Like, I was just trying to be a good friend. And, like, yeah, you know what? Hindsight's always 20/20. But, yeah. God damn it. Could you have realized this sooner, please?
Yeah. Kieran.
Come on. And then Emil comes in to see Kieran, and he can smell Vanetta on him. He's like, I'm going to ignore this. I'm going to ignore this because apparently Emil is the only reason my sister is alive, even though I don't like that you're with her. Like, and he tells him, and Reaver and Ates are also with him, by the way. As usual, Emil has news that is not pleasant. He's just literally always the bearer of bad news.
I know. Why is that?
Which is kind of, I feel bad for Emil in that sense. I'm like, you just always get the shitty end of the stick, dude. Like,
he does.
But at least he has, Vanetta. So I want a spicy scene with them. I feel like that'd also be good. But the bad news is that Nalir is still on his way, but he's taking longer because Tylan is joining him, who is Delano's cousin. And Kieran is like, fuck, like, Tylan is the last of the family line of Delano. Like, he cannot be coming here right now. Like, this is bad. This is a really bad idea. Like, fuck, we're gonna go extinct,
Yeah.
And apparently Eloana still does not know about Valen being dead. And so they're like, we gotta take care of that. Like, we gotta tell the queen, back home.
But they make zero plans to do it because Ates is like, no. I'll go. And they're like, you look like him. No. And he's like, oh, good point.
But then like, how are we going to explain that?
But then none of them explain who's going to go tell her.
Yeah, who's going to go tell her that her husband's dead? Anybody? Anyone want to volunteer? No.
Not it. But the second piece of news that, because Emil has, and Reaver's like, Emil's like, he's kind of missing. Reaver's like, he's where he's normally at the Cliffs of Sorrow. He goes there a lot. And I'm like, okay. Well, and clearly Emil has been hanging out with Millie because he refers to Casteel as the Dark Lord. And Kieran's like, stop it. Casteel wouldn't find it funny. And I'm like, I know he didn't like being called the Dark One, but Dark Lord it's kind of hotter.
It's kind of like an upgrade in hotness. So
it is. So
we can keep it. Change approved. Come on.
So then Kieran shows up again because he's getting braver. Proud of you, Wolfie.
Yes.
He goes to Cliffs of Sorrow to talk to Casteel, and we learned that Kieran learned basically nothing from talking to Colm. In fact, Colm claims to have known nothing about Penstarth or Kolis coming to Wayfarer, and Kieran believes him. And I was like,
I don't believe Callie for a second.
I don't either. Kieran, do you go here? Like, we don't believe the god of death's best friend.
No,
who lets his sister get like sexually abused. No.
Yes.
And then, interesting, Colm doesn't seem to sense the changes in Kieran. I thought that was really fascinating because he should.
He noticed them in Casteel. Well, I mean, he will.
Well, I think he saw them. But, like, I don't think he, like, before Casteel kind of showed him his new powers, I don't think he sensed them, which is just fascinating to me. Mm-hmm. Then Casteel mentions he's having dreams similar to the ones he had in the Skotos Mountains. Poppy's in a golden cage and he can't get to her. And I was like, oh, fucking Kolis. And then Kieran's been dreaming of her too, but not in any cages. And I'm like, I would like more details, Kieran. What kind of dreams? Can you share information? Dreams? I don't know. He doesn't tell us. And then they kind of both apologize for what's been happening. And it's like kind of a sweet moment. But I'm also like, Kieran, I feel like you need to grovel more.
Yeah.
Like, I need some groveling.
But it's also nice that, like, Casteel realizes that, like, someone can still love him. you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, Kieran is not afraid to get close to him. Because
That's true.
he's like, I need to show him that I still love him and I'm still here for him, which I think that is going to play a bigger, like, just role later and, like,
Yeah.
helping to, like, maybe pull Casteel out of this.
I think
Hopefully.
so too. I think Kieran and Poppy are probably gonna need to work together to get him out of the spiral.
They need a joining part two, basically.
If only,
Yeah.
Megan. If
If
only.
only.
Also, were you when Millie was like, so the three of you did get it on? All I thought was she was being kind of snarky about like things, right? I was just waiting for her to be like, and I'm happy to join anytime. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, whenever,
Oh.
like,
She was, like, a little jealous at the same time.
I felt like it a little bit.
Like, where was my invitation? So you guys did go hang out. You guys did go hang out without me. How dare you?
And I'm stuck
Invite
here with
me
your
to the
brother.
group chat.
No, thank you.
Invite me in the group chat, please.
Damn it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kick the brother out.
Yes, exactly. So this next chapter now is in Casteel's point of view, and it's entitled Bringer of Ruin, Giver of Wrath, and the Primal God of Death and Destruction. And that
Could it be
title
hotter?
alone, oh my God, bringer
Right?
of just
Orgasms?
sexiness. Yeah, like bringer of wet panties, if you will. I love it.
Oh.
So we have Casteel. He's watching Malik and Millie in his attempts to locate Callum. He's just like stalking them. He's like, they're going to lead me to Callie. And his patience pays off. He overhears a conversation between Callie and Millie, where Callie claims that Millie is a liar and that everything about her is an act, which he might not be wrong, you
Agreed.
know? Because Millie still has some mystery around her. Mysterious Millie, if you will. And Callum also wants Millie to let him go, which, please, like, we're going to let you go. Like, come on. He's like, because Kolis will just come for me and kill me anyway, and then he'll kill you too. And we're kind of just like, you know what? Shout out to Millie for calling Kolis the big bad daddy of death. It's like,
I
yeah,
feel like
okay.
I would have called him that forever.
Yes. And she's just like, I would love it. I would love it so much if the big bad daddy of death did come, because she's just like, death would be a relief. It's not a threat. And I'm like, that is so heartbreaking though. Like,
It is.
Millie, like, no, you should
But
be.
also, do you blame her? Like,
I
given
don't.
like what I mean, she's not dead. She's not alive. Her mom has seriously fucked up her life and made her do horrific things.
Yeah. She's literally just like, I'm counting on it. I want Kolis to come. That's why you're the bait. I want him to come and kill me.
Well, and also, I'm like, Colin, don't you think he's gonna come anyways? He wants to kill Casteel.
Yeah.
Like,
come on.
He's been very clear about it.
Yes. So Malik has also been eavesdropping and tells Millie that he doesn't want her coming to see Callum alone. Unsurprisingly, though, Millie's like, I don't give a fuck what you think. And I don't give a fuck about what you want. Like, fuck you. And we're like,
that.
yeah, he would. He would love it so much. He's like, when and where, babe? Tell me. I'll be there.
Right?
But she's like, you can't tell me what to do, which I love. And then Casteel is, waiting for them to leave, and he goes to see Callum, and he notices that his usual gold wings have just faded away, and his face resembles Poppy's and Millie's. Oh, he's like, they have the same nose, the same chin. Like, I can tell they're related, which you're like, ooh, that's going to be really hard for Casteel to want to kill him then, And yeah. And then Casteel asks Callum if he knows. Do you know what Casteel did to Kolis? He's like, do you know what I did to him? Do you know how I made him bleed and I put him into stasis? And then he's like, Callum, do you know what Kolis did to Poppy? And Callum just doesn't understand, honestly, like why Poppy even loves Casteel. And like, it's like, I don't know why she doesn't love Kolis. I don't know. He was so loving and devoted to her like that. Callum, wake the fuck up.
Do you go here?
Yeah, I was like, do you have a veil over your eyes, literally? Are you glamored in some way? Because that's not love. That's not devotion.
Insane?
Yeah. I think, he took a little sip of the Kool-Aid probably with Kolis. Yuck.
Oh.
So basically, it just does not go well. Callum does not believe that Casteel can even kill him. He's like, you can't kill me. I'm a revenant. You can't touch me. And Casteel shadow steps into his cell and calls forth the essence to show him everything he can be, including the wings. He's just like, whoa.
I lost it.
And then once again, Callum's just like, what the fuck are you? Oh my God. Like, I'm pretty sure like Callum would have peed himself.
He
Pretty sure he
probably
did.
did.
Probably did. Yeah. And Casteel's just like, where is Kolis? Like, I want to know. But Callum's just like, I'll never betray him. I'll never. And I'm like, but maybe you should. Maybe you should betray him. And he's just like, Casteel, you might as well just kill me. Kill me. I'm never going to tell you. But Casteel's just like, damn it, I can't. I can't kill you because I don't want to hurt Poppy. So everything goes back to Poppy, how much he loves her. And he's just like, you're her brother. Deep down. He's like, I hate that. And so he just like retreats and goes back to the castle.
You did a good thing.
Which I'm just like, you know what, Casteel? I'm very proud of you. You restrained yourself. Everybody doubted you. Everybody doubted you that you would be able to do that with Callum. But you did.
You did.
You held a boundary for yourself. And good job. You grew up. Gold star.
Gold star. Okay, he gets back, and two fates are there. And they're referring to Casteel as the bringer of ruin and the giver of wrath. And one is our favorite nipple-pierced fate, Aiden. And the other is a new fate that we haven't met yet. Kyrell?
Kyriel? Kyriel?
Kyriel?
Kyriel? Rhymes with Ariel? Kyriel?
I wanted to call him Ken.
Little Ken doll.
Look, no, like Ken as an Ate's brother.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's what my brain thought. I was like, what? No.
Yeah, no. Kyriel.
Well, Kyriel. Turns out all the fates are super creepy and have been watching Casteel, and God only knows who else. So that's not comforting whatsoever. No. It also makes me wonder, to what extent do they watch everyone? What do they see?
Are you watching their sexy time? Are you watching the joining? Are you watching when I go to the bathroom? Like what?
Creepy as Kolis?
Ew.
Right?
Ew.
Okay. They chastise Casteel for not talking to Poppy, and then they assume he was jealous of Poppy going to Kieran and claiming that's what rotted Casteel, which I think is really interesting because he wasn't jealous. The Fates then confirm that they're the ones who stopped Casteel and Pinster, which is what we thought, from killing Kieran and the other gods. Supposedly, Casteel has people on edge. Pretty much everyone who meets him, including the ones who want to neutralize him, referring to the Ancients. And Aiden claims to not be one of the Ancients that wants to neutralize him. And I'm like, you're decent?
You sure?
This feels like a trick.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if I believe you.
Aiden, I don't know how I feel about this. According to Kyrell, Casteel's inability to control his powers when he's angry will result in tragedy, something many of them have had to learn the hard way. So not
Sherlock,
helpful.
Of course.
Like,
of course, if you can't control your powers when you are literally the bringer of death and destruction and ruin, like, yes, things will go bad. Duh.
I feel like that's like a life lesson. If you can't control yourself, bad shit will happen. Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Yes.
There's more talk about the unions of two hearts not being always good and how sometimes sacrifices need to be made. I have a theory on this. I freaking hate it. We'll talk more about it. Most importantly, though, Kyrell says the death of an unbroken mate bond cannot sever that connection. The souls will reunite, but that bond can be broken at any point, no matter what the insinuating circumstances. Yeah. And then once again,
I don't like where that's going.
I don't like where that's going either. But once again, we hear the Fates mention if Casteel or Poppy would sacrifice their union, if it meant untold lives would be lost and the realm would be left in ruin. And also, FYI, the realm is growing more unbalanced because both Casteel and Kolis remain in it. One of them is trying to get back to the LSEM to get to his wife, and you motherfuckers won't let him.
Right.
So
it's like he's trying to help the balance. Let him go see his wife.
But I'm also like, you also told everyone that the only person who can kill Kolis is Poppy. So why are you telling him this? So it makes me wonder if the whole thing about Poppy being the only person who can kill Kolis has been a lie from the very beginning.
Like there's an ulterior motive. Yes. Or something else with Poppy. I'm like,
correct.
Yeah.
So Kyrell also warns Casteel that entering the Elysium would be a reckless choice, and that's how Nyktos and Sarah would see it.
Probably.
But here's the thing. I feel like Nyktos,
he would do the same thing.
Kettle. Like, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
so
nothing would keep you. Yeah.
So I'm just like,
just because it's a bad decision doesn't mean it's not what you would do.
So do you know what I thought? This is so horrible, but I was like, okay, boomer. Like, Like, okay, now that you're older,
Yeah.
you're acting like you're not reckless and you wouldn't do
Please.
anything or burn down the world for the woman you love. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right, sure. I'm
Should we
sure
go
I read
back and
like
read your
a
series
couple
again? Like,
thousand pages
yeah.
of that already.
Yeah, sure.
But then Casteel says one of my favorite lines in the entire novella: "Nothing and no one, not a primal of death, nor the queen of the gods herself, nor any so-called fates can stop me. If need be, I will go through anyone who stands in my way. I will get to her." And I was like, and this is why you are top tier book boyfriend material, chef's kiss,
Dark Lord.
Dark Lord. And I love
Oh.
it. And I love everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing after reading The Primal Blood and Bone, reading this novella, is how complex his character is. And I think that's why I love it so much. Because he's not simple. I think a lot of times when you see morally gray book boyfriends and romantasy, they're kind of like somewhat flat sometimes, where it's like, yeah, they burn down the world for you and they love you and all this other great stuff. But like you don't see as much of like the emotional deep layers that you see with like him or Niktos, and like the hurt and the devastation, and I love it.
He is literally just like so perplexed in this moment and like
Yes.
trying to peel away all these layers of him. You're just like, oh my God, like you're a complicated person. Like you have so
Yes.
many like complex things going on in your head, and which we all do, of course.
Yes.
But it's such good writing and such good character development. And
I
you're just
agree.
like, I don't know where it's gonna go. I hope it doesn't go this way. It might go this way, but are you gonna have a redemption arc? Like, I don't know. Let's find out.
Does he need one?
Does he need one? I don't know. Okay,
Okay.
time to theorize. So, first of all, which god did Poppy initially see at the beginning of the novella? Sorry, I kind of went Spanish all of a sudden. Novella. Although Poppy is not in great shape, I would say like on the brink of death is definitely not in great shape. Yeah. She vaguely remembers seeing a presence in primal mist and a tall form. This is obviously a primal god, since she mentions the primal mist, and we're inclined to believe that it's a man, probably perhaps based on her description. So this would lead us to believe the most likely person is Theon. However, this person just disappears, of course. So again, our theory now is a primal god was sent to Penster to see what the hell was going on, and they saw the horrific situation with Poppy and went back to Elysium to get help. They're just like, there's a disturbance out here. Like, let me go check this out. Oh, fuck, I need backup. So,
like a lot of backup.
A lot of backup. So we think that was Theon. So thank you, Theon, for, coming to the rescue.
Yep. So why did Satoria learn to become a fighter? So it's one of the numerous creepy statements Kolis makes about how Poppy learned to become a fighter and how he used to hate her for that. So based on the comment, we know he's talking about Satoria. But the question is, why did she learn to become a fighter and who taught her? The most obvious reason is she needed to learn to defend herself from Kolis and his sexual advances. But it feels like there's more to this comment. What we haven't been told is the entire story, and it feels like we're missing a big piece. Is it possible that Ate's trained her?
I think for sure. I mean,
right?
Ate saw all that shit that was going down. He's like, you need a women's self-defense class right now. Like,
right?
Let's go. And so I feel like, in an alternate universe, like Satoria, Poppy, and Sarah would run like a women's defense like facility and just like be like, when in doubt, stab.
Right? When in doubt, grab the glass dildo, break it, and go stabby.
I love it. I love it so much. Okay. What did Kolis mean by him and Satoria being distantly related? Barf really quick. So Poppy calls Kolis a pervert, which he is, for many, many reasons, of course. And she's referencing specifically how he is basically related to her because Sarah and Niktos are her grandparents. And Kolis responds how they weren't before, like they weren't related before. And then it says, actually, I suppose we were in a way, but distantly. Okay, still ew. But that's also a major breadcrumb for something about Satoria's ancestry and how it's tied to Kolis. Again, super gross that Kolis would be interested in someone he's distantly related to regardless. Like,
yes.
Ew. There's a reason why that is, like, literally legally banned. Like,
Ugh.
no. Yucky.
Okay, so what does Theon mean about someone being cast from the Elysium? So this comment is made by him when he makes it clear to Kolis that he didn't come to Pensterth alone. While Poppy doesn't know what it means, this couple of things happen. The swirling darkness beneath Kolis's flesh deepens, and he says, "Fuck the fates." Theon also made a previous comment about how Kolis should have sensed that Theon didn't come alone. So what does all this mean? For starters, it's very peculiar that Kolis could not sense the other primals that came with Theon. At a minimum, he should have sensed their presence and likely should have known who they were. We've seen that with all gods, right?
Yep.
This makes us question if there's something going on with his power that we're unaware of at this point. Second, the comment about being cast from the Elysium can mean a multitude of things. It could mean a fate is coming to help, because we know at least at a point later in the novella, one fate does intervene to stop Casteel from causing more destruction. It could also mean that Sarah was removed from timeout by the fates to allow her to assist with what was happening in Pensterth, which feels like the most likely answer, right? Because we know that she was put into timeout because she did something bad, according to the fates, who also do a lot of bad shit all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Third, slightly crazy theory is they're referencing a third party that we don't meet in this novella, but has a big role to play in the next book.
Yeah.
I think there's some characters that we've not met that are going to come to play.
Yes, they will. They for sure will. Who now is going to rise as the new primal accord god of accord and war? So we know Theon falls, thanks to fucking Kolis, and shockwaves are sent throughout Pensterth. However, we don't know yet which god is going to rise to take his place. So theoretically, there has to be another god to take over this court, or the shockwaves would have just continued and stopped, or not stopped. So our first question, can Ates take his court back? Maybe. That would be the easiest option. He's like, all right, I'll do it, fine. Is it possible that that would happen automatically then? Or when Theon died? Or did a completely new god now rise up to become the primal? Be very, very interesting if Ates does take back that court, given his connection to Casteel.
Yeah.
I think that could happen.
I think it could too. So who is the other primal god at Pensterth? So when Casteel comes to Pensterth, he sees a female primal god that is unremarkable but different. She doesn't react to him, which makes me feel like she knows exactly who he is or what he is. Her eyes are black, threaded with crimson, and smells like stale lilacs and death. She's able to slip through a tower in the realm before you can get to her. And I was like, what do you mean she's a primal and seems to be like death? Is Jennifer Armentrout telling us there's another primal of death floating around here somewhere? How many primal of deaths does that make? We got Nyktos, Kolis, Casteel, and this one?
And still kind of half of Poppy in a way?
Right? Okay. So let's get a little unhinged. Is it possible the primal might smell of stale lilacs and death because she was dead and now she's not?
A revenant in a way, but
maybe. Could Kolis bring fucking Vessies back?
That fucking bitch.
Bitch, right? We thought the bitch was dead, but this bitch came back. So now I'm starting to question if there's a way for Vessies to come back. It would make sense for her to, right? Can you imagine if both of them are back in the same fucking realm at the same time? Jesus.
Oh. Cat fight. Can't wait. Oh.
So it would make sense for Vessies to support Kolis. It would make sense for her to have an idea of what Casteel is potentially, right? So another potential theory, a little less unhinged, is that there are other primals that exist who aren't tied to courts. How do we know 100% that the only Demian primals are Poppy, Casteel, and Kieran, and the other one likely Thorn? Because that's what Thorn told us. Don't trust the fates. Because he told us it's the three of you and there's another one, but he's different. What if there is actually more?
Yeah.
And we just don't know.
I think that's a really big possibility. I love the theory that it could be Vessies. Oh my Can you imagine? God. Mind blown. I didn't even think about that.
Her and Sarah, oh God, can you just imagine what that would be?
That'd be so crazy. That would be
how she might react if she saw Millie, who looks just like Sarah.
Oh.
Right?
Oh my God.
I'm like manifesting
Yikes.
this.
Yeah,
It's crazy. I want it.
I think you're onto something. Let's do it. Now, here's a fun one. What is the importance of Poppy's vision of Ethos and Kolis? So, remember we had that crazy theory that Kolis might get like a slight redemption arc, or maybe we feel bad for him in the next book. So this chapter definitely does make that seem to be a possibility because Poppy does feel for him, and I felt for him. And I'm just like, that sucks. Like, people are so quickly like shunning you just because, you know, you're the god of death. But it also brings up, yeah, you see death and you're like, oh fuck, run away. Like, you're not running up to him to hug him.
Well, I was gonna say, and you're not like Hades, the god of death, in the Crucible series, where I'm like, I would run up to hug you.
I would run up to hug you, absolutely. But this does bring up a crazy theory that we have about the fates, that they're just behind all of this. Which you're like, well, that kind of sucks for you, dude. Like, you literally had no say. But for example, Ethos specifically says, because of the fates, all he will ever be is a witness, a ghost among the living and the gods, forever wandering, forever alone. Leads you to question, like, are some of the fates just fucking with people's lives, like, even more than we know? Like, yeah. It seems like Kolis was just doomed from the beginning because of the fates. And, like, as a result, like, some of the other fates tried to help him, perhaps, by, like, giving him the Star Diamond. Like, maybe one of them took pity on him. They're like, you know what? You didn't deserve this. Let me throw you a bone. Let me throw you a Star Diamond.
Let me throw you Satoria.
But then one last potential theory. Well, I don't love that. Don't throw him Satoria. One last potential theory that we don't love also about that comment. Could it be referring to Casteel and what he's become? Like, is this like the past repeating itself? Like, especially when Ethos then mentions how it's not too late. So as Casteel, as he continues his journey, is he potentially going to be subjected to the same fate as Kolis unless Poppy can do something about it?
No.
Like, is Casteel doomed to now be a witness and be a ghost among the living and the gods, forever wandering, forever alone?
I know.
I hope not.
There's just so many similarities in the novella, though. If you think about like when Kolis touches stuff and how it turned, like it dies, and then Casteel, it's just
like Casteel's becoming the new Kolis, but
worse.
But it's also like, could he be stopped? Does it have to be that way?
I don't think it has to be that way, but I think Poppy's gonna have to make a sacrifice. Okay, so what is the significance of From the Ash of the First Flame chapter title? We believe it strongly ties to Casteel's ancestry line. It could support our theory that Casteel is tied to the first ancients that lent part of them to create the primals. We have theorized this for a long time, including that Thorn is actually the ancient that created Ates' line, and therefore Casteel. It also seems to confirm that power within Casteel has been there from the very beginning, because it mentions ash, which is alluded to as part of his new smell. So I think we're getting like two confirmations. Ates, there's definitely a connection to Thorn, and Casteel, the power within him was always there.
Why was Kieran subjected to Kolis' influence? Because theoretically, Kieran is a primal and a Dominion primal, so it's like really weird that Kolis was even able to influence him at all. And like literally, like he attempted to harm himself at the end of the Primal of Blood and Bone. So like, yes, he is a Wolven. He's part of that world who were very susceptible to it. Like many of them died. Makes us question, like, why didn't his power protect him? Like, how did that not work? Like, did he like have like a weakening because of like a frayed union between like Poppy and Casteel? Like, because like if not all three of them are together and united, like they're all weaker. So I hate that idea. But that also feels like a breadcrumb for the next book that's going to be very important, that like his power didn't protect him. And like, is Kieran going to end up dying because of this? Like, is he going to be the sacrifice to save Poppy and Casteel? I hope not. I love, as much as I don't like Kieran's choices, I still love him.
I still love the wolf, I know.
I still love our little wolfy boy. But I'm glad he didn't, come to Kolis' influence. But I'm also like, this isn't good. This isn't good that even affected you at all. Like, that's not bad. That's bad.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
So are Niktos and Sarah keeping Poppy from Casteel? So based on what Aiden says and Kyrell, this appears to be the case. Casteel is
Mhm.
specifically told that it would be reckless to enter the Elysium, according to Niktos and Sarah. And that's odd because Casteel is Poppy's husband. Sarah specifically told Casteel when she was there and to take care of Poppy the last time she saw him. So what is this strange change? Why did it happen? Obviously, they have heard from Layla, Kieran, and Rain about Casteel's current state, and that probably did not help the situation. No. But Ates also went to the Elysium, and he has seen Casteel, and I would hope that he would advocate for his grandson to be able to see his wife.
Yeah. It's like he's in a bad spot right now. He needs something to help him.
He needs Poppy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It makes us feel like there's something bigger going on with Niktos and Sarah that they know about Casteel, likely tied to the end of the prophecy and its ramifications that are making them want to keep Poppy from him. It makes us question if they will actually fight to keep Casteel away from her in the next book, and will Poppy have to choose between her family and her husband at some point? But think about, like, wouldn't that be, think about a sacrifice.
And yeah, asking Poppy to choose between those two, like that's also between like saving the world,
Right.
you know? It's like you can either choose your husband or saving the entire world from his destruction. You're like,
Correct.
oh,
Biggie.
that's bad. End of the world, hurt me. End of the world, hurt me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be in her shoes.
No.
Should we be worried about Dominic and Lily are coming? Yeah, we should be. We heard about this in the Primal of Blood and Bone, and he's mentioned again in this novella. He's really taking his fucking time getting over to Wayfair Castle, like dragging his heels. Makes us wonder if perhaps there's more to him than we know. There has to be a reason why we haven't met him yet in this series, but doesn't seem like a good thing.
No, it does not.
No. We
also know that he does know. He's mentioned the vision of flesh and blood once, a little bit. So I'm like, ooh, I have bad feeling.
Bad vibes.
Okay, so what's the significance of the recurring heartmate talk? So Aiden and the Fates have brought up twice to Casteel about the importance of his heartmate connection to Poppy and its implications. I hate it. Simplest theory is that we're being set up for one of them to have to break their heartmate connection to save the realms. We hate this theory. We do know that a happily ever after is coming. Jennifer Armentrout has been very clear that we will get a happily ever after. However, that could mean that we see the sacrifice happening and Casteel and Poppy are able to be together in Arcadia. She does not make it clear that they will be alive or in this realm. That would still give them an HEA, right? Another potential theory is that Casteel and Poppy are long-term heartmates and their souls will find each other again even after death, which supports our theory that Casteel might be Ken reborn. Because here's the thing that I think is important. She has said that now twice from Aiden.
Yeah.
And I think she's very intentional about the words that she chooses. Okay. Last theory. Super unhinged. Super unhinged. Okay. For those of you that have not read The Fall of Ruin and Wrath, you might want to stop or pause or skip ahead because we are going to talk about some things related to Thorn and what happens in that book and how this all ties in. But Thorn... Hi, Thorn. So a couple of things that we know. We know that Thorn and Ates and Casteel are related somehow. We know that Ates is Casteel's like
great-granddaddy.
Great-granddad,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We know that. We know that Elon is Valen's father. Those are like things that are pretty well confirmed. We know that primals came from ancients. So we've kind of operated under the theory that like Thorn was probably one of the first ancients, and then he gave a piece of him to create the primal, which then became probably Etes, and then his line, right? So that is, I think, the most logical theory we could have. Clearly, that's not where we're going to go. So bear with us, jump down the rabbit hole, because what if Thorn can time travel? What if Thorn is Casteel from the future? Think about it for a second. His voice sounds really familiar to Poppy. He looks very attractive to Poppy.
And
he wants to call her Poppy.
Yes. Can I call you Poppy?
He's very disappointed when she makes the decision to prevent Casteel from going to Penstirth. Like, almost like it hurts him.
Yeah. Like, there is redemption for him.
Yeah. What if he is Casteel from the future? And then, therefore, what if Thorne and Liz are Poppy and Casteel reborn?
I like it.
So
yeah, they just always keep getting reborn.
Right?
I mean, the whole thing about, like, you know, the connection can be severed, but the souls will always reunite.
Yes.
Always, forever.
And it would make sense because Thorne talks about losing his Nikora, right? Because everything.
Yes, I love this because, oh my God, my mind is like blown. Yeah. Because they travel all throughout time with each other. And all these stories keep repeating. But like something gets, let's say like this is true. Something got fucked up. And he's going back to make sure it doesn't get fucked up or it goes a certain way that's supposed to, so that, you know, the world doesn't end.
Yep.
Oh my God. Yes. I can see it.
I hope so.
I can see it. I like it.
I'm just wanting more Casteel books.
Yeah.
I mean, Thorne is like chef's kiss good. So, okay.
Yes.
In terms of what's next, if you love this book and if you haven't read The Fall of Ruin and Wrath, you need to get on it. It's so good.
Get on that.
Right? Because you get to see Thorne again. There are countless potential tie-ins. You will better understand, I think, who Casteel is becoming and the similarities to Thorne, because you do see at the end of that book, right, something very similar to what we're seeing with Casteel. Also, we've mentioned it before, but the Crucible series by Abigail Owen includes Bad Boy God of Death, Who Will Burn Down the World. Not like Creepy Kolis. He's giving more like Casteel vibes.
Yes.
That's the games that gods play and the things that gods break. Highly, highly recommend them.
And then join us later this week when we dive into the world of dark romance and a little mafia action and discuss Bad Bishop by L.J. Shen. Happy reading, everybody.
Happy reading. Thanks for listening to Late Night Reads. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Late Night Reads Podcast. And check out latenightreads.com for even more information about all the books we're reading. If you loved today's episode, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. And share the show with your fellow book lovers.